The dawn stillness of Cedar Hollow, a sprawling rural enclave nestled in the rugged plains of western Montana, shattered at 6:03 a.m. On a crisp September morning in 2024. Three police cruisers rolled up to my horse pond, their lights slicing through the mist as Brenda Walsh, the 52-year-old HOA president of Pine Ridge Estates, shrieked into her phone. "He's breaking animal regulations. Arrest him now." I stood by the water's edge, watching my four horses Shadow, Blaze, Tempest, and Scout bask in the first rays, their coats gleaming, utterly baffled by the chaos. Then the lead officer, squinting at their federal tags, went pale. "Hold you pair these Border Patrol horses?" Brenda's tirade stopped cold, her designer heels sinking into the soft earth. She had no clue I'd just retired from 25 years with the Border Patrol, or that these horses were federal assets, not backyard pets. I'm Ethan Carter, 48, a man who thought moving back to my grandfather's 50-acre ranch would bring the peace I craved after losing my wife, Clara, to leukemia 3 years prior. That morning, Brenda's vendetta against my horses collided with a federal operation bigger than her clipboard empire, and her world was about to implode in ways no HOA fine could fix. 6 months ago, I'd left the Border Patrol's dust and danger for this ranch, a family heirloom since the 1950s, tucked in a gated community outside Missoula. The pond, where I led my retired patrol horses daily for therapeutic swims, was my sanctuary, a ritual that soothed their old joints and my battered soul. For a while, it was perfect. Dawn light on the water, the horses' steady breaths, the quiet of a life reclaimed. Then Brenda, a former corporate lawyer whose career cratered in a 2012 ethics probe, swept into Pine Ridge's HOA like a queen claiming a throne. Her first visit came a month after she took office, striding across my property in a tailored blazer and stilettos, blonde hair sprayed into submission, waving an iPad like a scepter. "Mr. Carter," she snapped, reading from a digital manifesto. "Section 4.29 prohibits livestock without board approval. Your horses violate community standards." I glanced at the faded federal training zone sign near my fence, a relic from my grandfather's day, and kept my voice even. "Ma'am, there's a misunderstanding. This pond's on federal land, per the original deeds." Her laugh was sharp, dismissive. "Federal land? Nonsense. I've mapped every inch of Pine Ridge. You've got 48 hours to ditch those animals, or I'll call the authorities." She brandished her phone, already snapping photos. "I've got evidence from my lawyer. This is just the start, Mr. Carter." That night, my security cameras caught 2 men tampering with my setup at 2:17 a.m., disabling 3 of 6 feeds and planting what looked like listening devices in my barn. The work was too slick for HOA nonsense. Fresh tire tracks near my back fence didn't match any local rigs, hinting at bigger trouble. My gut, honed by decades on the border, screamed warning. My neighbor, Amos Tate, a 38-year-old IT consultant, knocked the next evening, laptop in tow, his face tight. "Ethan, my cameras caught something weird last night." His footage showed the men, plus a third in a sedan, its plate tied to Raven Security Solutions, a private investigation firm. A quick check revealed Brenda had hired them, using her HOA credit card. "This ain't about horses," Amos said, his fingers flying over keys. "She's running surveillance on you." My old instincts kicked in. His was no neighborhood spat. I asked Amos to dig deeper, and within an hour, he had a name: Carl Reed, an ex-sheriff's deputy sacked for evidence tampering, now a desperate PI taking shady gigs. Brenda wasn't just finding me. She was playing a dangerous game, and I suspected she didn't even know its stakes. The next morning, a certified letter arrived: $6,000 in fines, horse removal within 48 hours, and threats of lawsuits for disturbing the peace and unauthorized operations. The charges implied weeks of surveillance, far beyond HOA scope. Then Ellen Hayes, a 74-year-old widow who'd known my grandfather, showed up with a dusty manila folder. "Ethan, it's time you knew the truth," she said, spreading yellowed documents across my table. "Your pond's not just federal land, it's a Border Patrol training site since 1965. Your grandfather, Samuel, signed a deal making it a Homeland Security asset." The papers detailed decades of mounted patrol training, surveillance equipment, and a federal easement marking the pond as government property. My horses, on loan via a veteran care program, were federal assets. Brenda hadn't just picked a fight with Mesh targeted a strategic installation. I called my old boss, Agent Sarah Monroe, now heading the mounted division. Ethan, we've tracked odd activity near your sector for weeks, she said, voice taut. Trafficking spikes, key players gone dark. If someone's watching your ranch, it's no coincidence. I'm sending Agent Laura Reed to brief you. Stay sharp. That afternoon, Brenda doubled down, calling a press conference at the community center, blasting my federal contractor abuses to local news. Her broadcast detailing my horse's dawn swims aired my address and routine to anyone watching, including those Carl Reed was feeding intel to. Amos texted, encrypted chatters spiking theory cross-referencing your pond with satellite data. I knew then, Brenda's HOA war had breached national security. Agent Laura arrived that evening, her tactical photos chilling. Carlos Rivera, a trafficking coordinator with cartel ties, Miguel Vargas, a logistics expert dodging feds for years, and Carl Reed, the PI linking Brenda's petty crusade to a criminal network. Your pond's a surveillance hub, Laura said, showing a classified memo. It's monitored trafficking routes for 50 years, intercepting drugs and rescuing victims. Brenda's publicity just blew its cover. Intercepted chatter confirmed a trafficking op plan to use my pond as a staging ground, moving a high-value target. Isabella Vargas, daughter of a Mexican anti-cartel, judge during my horse's swim. Brenda's press stunt had accelerated their timeline, and strange vehicles circled Pine Ridge, not all federal. I spent the night cleaning my old service pistol, reviewing protocols, my horses restless as if sensing old battles. Dawn would bring more than a swim. It'd be a reckoning. At 8 a.m., Dr. Rachel Kim, County Animal Control, rolled up, her camera flashing as she documented my horses with forensic precision. Brenda trailed, news vans in tow, iPad loaded with doctored photos of abuse. Dr. Kim, he forces these horses into that pond daily. No shelter, no care, she declared, gesturing at shadow-munching hay in a climate-controlled barn. Rachel, unfazed, examined Brenda's images. These are cropped, enhanced, and mismatched to weather data, she said, her software exposing digital tampering. This looks like fraud. I showed Rachel my horses' federal record Shadow, Blaze, Tempest, and Scout, elite mounts with tactical water training, on loan from the government. Brenda scoffed. He's faking federal ties, but Rachel scanned their ID chips, her face hardening. These are federal assets tied to active operations. I'm notifying Border Patrol. Brenda's livestream faltered as Rachel added, false abuse claims are a misdemeanor, MS. Walsh. Manipulated evidence is fraud. The news crew pivoted, sensing a bigger story. Then, a teenage girl stumbled from the sagebrush behind my fence, bloodied, clothes torn, gasping in Spanish. Soy Isabella Vargas, ayude. My heart stopped. She was the judge's daughter, escaped from traffickers. Brenda, oblivious, pointed her phone, live streaming. He's hiding illegals on federal land, she shrieked, broadcasting Isabella's location to her followers and the criminals hunting her. Officer Daniel Monroe, young but sharp, stepped between them. Stop filming, ma'am. Brenda ignored him, ranting about federal overreach. I knelt by Isabella, speaking softly in Spanish. Estás segura, soy ex policía de frontera. Her relief was gut-wrenching, tears streaming as she whispered, Mi padre es Juez Vargas. Meven a vendor. Rachel provided first aid, radioing for federal backup, glaring at Brenda. You're endangering a trafficking victim. Brenda doubled down. It's a stunt to discredit me. But the roar of SUVs cut her off. To federal, one hostile, speeding toward us. Agent Commander Michael Hayes led the feds, securing Isabella with medics, his grip on my shoulder tight. Thank God, Ethan. We thought we'd lost this op. He had the horse's federal tags. Your ranch is a safe house. Your grandfather's deal was for emergencies like this. Agent Laura approached Brenda, voice steel. MS. Walsh, your PI, Carl Reed, sold your surveillance to traffickers. You've compromised a federal site. Brenda's phone slipped, her live stream catching her pale shock. Carl's licensed, she stammered. Laura flashed his rap sheet. Fired for corruption, now feeding intel to cartels. Your payments funded it. Handcuffs gleamed, But Laura's tone softened. You're a witness, not arrested yet. Cooperate. Brenda's world collapsed, her HOA crown now a federal shackle. Amos shouted. Ethan, traffickers are 30 seconds out, feds are 60. Black SUVs skidded in, feds surrounding Isabella, the third vehicle revealing armed men. Daniel coordinated locals, his radio crackling. Federal incident, trafficking victim, media on site. The hostile SUV disgorged Carlos Rivera and 2 gunmen, but federal snipers dropped them before shots fired, their op crumbling under the feds' trap. Isabella, shielded by medics, gave intel that cracked the network. Brenda, in a federal van, answered Laura's questions, her grief over her son's death killed in a cartel hit spilling out. I wanted control, to stop chaos, she sobbed. Laura nodded. Your son wouldn't want this. Your intel saved 3 girls today. Carl Reed and his crew were nabbed fleeing near Bozeman, their drives exposing dozens of federal sites. 6 months later, my ranch was the Northern Plains Border Education Center, training agents and locals to spot trafficking. Brenda, after a reduced sentence, counseled survivors, honoring her son. Isabella, back in Mexico, advocated for victims, her father's arrests saving 200. My horses, restored to duty, became outreach stars, teaching kids border security's human stakes. I led the center, Ellen and Amos my allies, Pine Ridge now a model of cooperation. Brenda's war on my horses exposed a trafficking ring, proving even petty fights can spark global justice. I watched shadows swim, the pond a symbol of endurance, knowing peace comes from fighting the right battles. Was Ethan's restraint heroic or reckless? Should Brenda's redemption lessen her punishment? Can Pine Ridge stay united, or will new Brenda's rise? Share your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for stories that demand your stand.